Hey guys, Martin here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at the man himself, INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, probably the most anticipated EZA for the Global Dokkan campaign, even back when we were suspecting that the theme was going to be Daima. This guy was like the #1 wanted EZA because obviously the tie-in with Super Saiyan 4, it still made sense that it would happen. He was the second oldest TUR in the game, like Dokkan Fest, that doesn't have an EZA. Physical Angel Frieza, the one that can transform into Golden Frieza on turn 1 from the Tournament of Power, is still the oldest TUR without an EZA. Then it was this guy. And now he has it, and he seems pretty good. So his leader skill is Giant 8 Power and Shadow Dragon Saga, full 170. His super attack is massively raise attack and greatly raise defense for 4 turns and does immense damage to the enemy. So the greatly raised defense for 4 turns is obviously really good because when he comes back around the next time, he's still kept those defensive boosts from his super attacks. Then he has Key 4, attack and defense 300%, attacks effective against all types, and 40% damage reduction. On his first turn, he has an extra 40% damage reduction. Then for every attack received or evaded, he gets 25% crit up to 100, so he ends up with 100% crit, so he doesn't need any crit in the hidden potential. As the second or third attacker in the turn, he gets attack and defense 250% and launches an additional super attack. Then when receiving a super attack, he has great chance to nullify and counter with tremendous power for 10 turns, and then high chance to counter from turn 11. So for the first 10 turns, he has a 70% chance to counter, and then it drops to 50. So the thing with this guy, especially when it comes to like GT heroes, I'm running him on a Giant 8 Power team because we don't want too many Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas around, because the thing with this guy, when it comes to the showcase, we want to keep him on rotation so we can see more turns of him and see what he does. But really, for the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta Heroes team, he's going to be a slot 3 floating unit. I say GT Heroes team. He's going to be a floating unit, right? Because he gets his extra passive boosts in slot 2 or 3. And then you're going to have a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta on both rotations. So usually in slot 1. So this guy is designed to be floated on this team. Now the thing is, I think the reason why he has the 40% extra damage reduction on the first turn is for turns like this, right? Where this is not a great first turn. I mean, I could do this, but I mean, Vegeta probably would be fine. I guess we could do that, because if we have to put him in slot 1 if we have to for whatever the rotation is, or if he gets locked, if it's a locking event on the first turn, he at least has 80% damage reduction on this turn. Right, with 400k start of turn defense. I mean, he's not going to be tanking the craziest supers in the game, but that gives him a little bit of extra survivability, I feel like. And the thing is, Vegeta wants to be in slot 2 or 3 as well, so we don't really want him to be in slot 1. So it feels like we kind of have to do this on this first turn, which is not ideal for Gogeta. He doesn't get the extra stats. He's not going to get the guaranteed extra super, but we're going to have plenty of time to see what he can do in this event. So I guess we will just have to wait and see. So he gets hit for double-digit damage as expected. 8.7 million, obviously nothing too crazy, because he would be getting an extra 250% if he was in slot 2, right? So we've already got the crit, he's already been hit twice, and then his attack received or evaded, so that was 4 attacks in slot 1 on the first turn. So yeah, he now just has a 100% chance to crit going forward, which is obviously very useful. But yeah, I mean, this guy, Vegeta getting the super attack counter in slot 2. Love to see that. But yeah, this Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like I say, is going to be a floating slot 3 unit. I mean, I guess on the Giant 8 Power team, depending on how it shapes up in the future with some of these buffs that we could see, like the Daima Goku and stuff like that, he could end up being an on-rotation slot 2 unit. But I think with characters like the new AGL LR, if you have him, obviously you're going to be prioritizing him in slot 1 over some of these other units. But let's get you guys floated off so that they can be a slot 1 on the other rotation. I meant to target Zamasu, but to be honest it doesn't really matter considering that Vegeta does an AoE anyway. Although I suppose any additionals will be on Rose. But this gives us the opportunity to like stall out a little bit here against the Immortal Zamasu and then just like fix up our rotations and everything. Because yeah, I mean, we do run across this issue from time to time when it comes to doing showcases 4 characters who ideally want to be in slot 3, which is kind of his best setup for the GT Heroes team. His passive obviously is slot 2 or 3, so he does have that little bit of flexibility depending on the rotation. It does mean that after the first turn, when you're not going to have that extra 40% damage reduction, if he then gets locked in slot 1 in a more difficult event, then obviously that could be an issue, because some of these bosses are starting to hit really, really hard with their normal attacks. Because even if they do a super and he counters it, like, there's still potentially other hits coming his way in slot 1. And obviously the go-to that we always talk about now is the built-up Rose, who obviously would do insane damage to him in slot 1 as he's getting built up. I have seen some calcs for just how high this guy's defense can get, though, once we've actually got like the rotation set up the way we want, once you're getting like your multiple supers in one turn, and then of course the active skill that he has, which gives him a permanent, well, I say a permanent buff, it gives him a massive buff for the one turn, similar to like Gogeta getting the big Dragon Fist buff, the new one. So like on the turn where he uses active skill, his defense can be incredibly high, coupled with the 40% damage reduction, obviously can be very, very good. So, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what his start of turn defense is for this turn, because we didn't get a bunch of supers off the last time around. So yeah, he's at 670k, but now we'll go ahead and put him in slot 2. We'll leave Super Saiyan 4 Goku in slot 1 here and hope he just gets the dodges. I mean, these guys don't hit insanely hard, and Vegeta is here giving the defensive support as well. So yeah, Goku's fine. And obviously once we get the Goku transformed into Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the two of them together is even more crazy, right? Because Goku's giving 70% defense and 10% damage reduction. So that gives this INT Gogeta the ability to hit some crazy numbers. See, that's much more like it. 36 million. Because that 250% is multiplicative, because it's when attacking. So yeah, that's a lot better. His defense jumps up by a crazy amount as well. So he's like over 2 million defense at this point now, straight away with 40% damage reduction. Pretty good for this event. Obviously for the toughest events, not so much necessarily, but on a turn where we get the triple super as well, because remember, all of this is now carrying over from these 3 super attack effects here, all carrying over to the next turn. We of course have 100% chance to crit, because he's already been hit or dodged 4 times. So that's the other thing, like, putting out those kind of attack stats, 30 to 40 million, but they're also effective against all types, which is an extra modifier, and he's critting, which is the extra damage as well. So like, the damage output can definitely be very, very good from this INT Gogeta, and that's without even using the active skill. Now the only thing with the active skill, because they can't change active skills with Easy A's, so the only thing with the active skill compared to like his new passive and everything is that he gets his buffs even if he dodges, whereas for his active skill specifically, he has to be hit a certain number of times in order for his active skill to be available. So that's the only downside for him getting potentially a bunch of dodges, because on that second turn he didn't get attacked at all. On the first turn he got hit 3 times and dodged once, so that's enough for the 4 for his crit passive, but for getting the active skill he still needs to get hit 1 more time. So we should be able to get that in the next turn, hopefully, depending on what the attack placements are looking like. But obviously Vegeta going to do some damage to Rose here. Probably start focusing on Rose on like the next turn maybe, because Gogeta's going to have got his multi-turn buff. We got triple super on the previous turn, so he should be looking pretty good at the start of turn 5. And I think we can transform the Goku as well, right, in this next turn. So that should work out quite nicely. That's the other thing that could be quite helpful as well, like using the Golden Ape and then becoming the Super Saiyan 4 Goku gets rid of all the supers. So if Vegeta's got, if in Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's got really high start of turn defense, even though he only has the 40% damage reduction, if you really have to, like again, if your rotations have got messed up or there's locking, like he could go in slot 1 on that turn because of the extra support and the 50% damage reduction thanks to the Goku. It'll be interesting to see what his defense is, like pre and post, like Goku transforming as well, because his support goes from 50 to 70%. So let's see what we got here. Now obviously we could, if we really wanted to, transform the Super Saiyan 4s. So he's at 890. So basically at 900k defense start of turn. So bear in mind, again, in slot 2 or 3, he gets a multiplicative 250% when attacking. So 900k plus 250% is 3.1 million. Then he's also greatly raising defense on his 18 key super, and then has 40% damage reduction as well. So, but yeah, he needs to be hit. And there's only one attack there, which, although to be fair, actually, if we do this first, this will change the pattern of all the attacks, because hopefully we can get a slot where he is actually going to take some hits. I mean, if not, we'll just have to wait until the next phase, I guess, but we'll use the Giant Ape here, because obviously that stops Rosé supering now on the next turn. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, if you are not forced to, you don't really want to put Gogeta in slot 1, right? Getting the guaranteed extra super, because not only is it giving him the defense for the turn, it's carrying over for next time, so you want to get as many of the supers as possible in the turn. So ideally there's not really any situations where you want to put Gogeta in slot 1, unless you've got, like, I mean, I guess some examples will exist, right? Like some crazy, all the attacks are in slot like 2 and one of them's the super from like a type disadvantage super hard hitting boss or something. I don't know. Like, there'll be some situations where maybe it would make sense to do that, but realistically, because of the way his kit works, you don't want to be putting him in slot 1. Maybe like turn 1 you can get away with it with the 80% damage reduction if you have to, if your starting rotation is bad, but for the most part you don't really want to be putting him in slot 1. Just slot 2 or 3. Giant 8 power team's going to get even more buffs, like we said, Daima Goku, the Heroes, Super Saiyan 4 Easy A's. So this Gogeta like easily makes a really good slot 3 floating support on like all of these teams that he's on. So now he's at 938k with the extra buff from the Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So let's go ahead and I guess we might as well just attack Zamasu again with you, so that we can then attack Rosé with you. And then Goku can do this. Because we floated off the other Goku, so we need to float this one off as well anyway, really. And then these guys can get their attacks off. Because remember, these guys still have their guard, but thanks to the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, they also have 10% damage reduction, which isn't necessarily a lot. But when coupled with like the raw defense that they have and guard, having that little 10% extra is still good. Right, it's still like 300k off a 3 million super, which might not sound like a huge amount, but once we factor in guard and the raw defense that they have, it makes a difference. It can say, I mean, if it's anything, if it can save you from getting one shot, even if you're on like 1% HP afterwards, then obviously it's still beneficial. So 44.6 for INT Gogeta on this turn, and this is again without the active skill buff, so that's pretty good. Obviously guaranteed crit, guaranteed additional super, 48 million. Jeez, you might actually just kill him here and then not even get hit, because he's going to crit every time because he's got guaranteed crits. Okay, the hidden potential was only a normal. Good. Alright, so we took the 4th hit, so now on his next turn the active skill will be available to use, and that gives him a massive buff, so very much looking forward to seeing that. Super Saiyan 4 Goku didn't finish off Rosé, okay. Well, I suppose that's fine. Because we just finish him off here now anyway, but still, kind of funny. Do that for you, that for you. Save the Dragon Fist from the other Gogeta, I guess. She's just out here dodging these double-digit damage normals. Okay, so he's going to finish off Rosé here. I like it when we get into these situations though, it's like we can just finish these guys off in like one attack and then get straight back to the turn with the showcase character. So this is where we can now use the, I suppose we probably should use the other Great Ape thing though, shouldn't we? They're up to almost 2 million defense now. So 718k start of turn. Let's go ahead and I guess we should get the other Goku out just for the sake of having both of the things active. So we'll do this, do this. I always forget to, like, ideally I should be trying to set up orbs ready for the next turn, but then I guess if we're going to fuse into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, we're going to get the orb changing anyway, so... it's not the end of the world. And then, of course, that rotation will be incredibly good with physical LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and this INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, because it'll be basically every link active. Except, of course, the big downside for this INT Gogeta is he is from the era... I mean, there were only 2 before they released the physical one for the 7th anniversary, but both the Tech and INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, they didn't give these guys Saiyan Raw. So he doesn't have Saiyan Raw as a link, which is like 25% attack and 10% defense. Just think that that's a link that all the other Super Saiyan 4s are getting active, but he isn't, and he's still hitting those numbers. I think at the time, I guess, like, there weren't many Super Saiyan 4s in the game when Tech Gogeta came out. And then INT Gogeta came out, and they'd obviously already set a precedent because they used to never change link sets for characters once they'd already had a type, like, in the game. And I think way back when Tech Gogeta came out, the assumption from the community for the most part was that they didn't give him Saiyan Raw because then he'd have just been too overpowered, because he was already super good back then. And even without link leveling, like Saiyan Raw gave 10%, was it 10%? It gave attack only, but yeah, obviously he doesn't have it. So he's got 750k. So let's go ahead and let's put the... actually, no, let's fuse you first. Well, there's no... oh, yeah, I was going to say, wow, there's no super, but yeah, of course there isn't. Yeah, let's not get a load of orbs with you. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and active skill with INT Gogeta here.
You're a real letdown, you know that? Honestly, I thought you'd put up more of a fight.
Okay, so this gives him a, is it 40% buff? So he's a million defense start of turn. Yeah, attack and defense 40% from one turn, and enemies minus 40%. So in events where you can attack lower, that's obviously going to be helpful. But yeah, that means on super, he's getting 2.5 million defense without even taking into account the super attack effects. And that's with no... we've got the 70% support from Goku here. Now imagine with some of the crazy stuff you can do on GT heroes, especially if we're having him on that team as a floater, when you have like the effects from Pan from the previous turn giving massive defense buffs. This guy can get up to some pretty crazy numbers, and then obviously has the 40% damage reduction to back it up as well. Which means on this turn he tanks what, like 5 to 6 million depending on how many supers he does here. 5 to 6 million damage super for double digit damage, and that's if he doesn't counter it, because we're still within the first 10 turns, so he still has a 70% chance to counter a super attack here as well. And then yeah, 57 million. And bearing in mind, like, none of his attack stat is based on him getting hit and like building up, so even as a slot 3 floating support, like, these are the kind of numbers that he's going to do. I say support, he doesn't give support, but as a floating unit. 62 million on the additional. And these are all guaranteed crits as well. So, yeah. He just puts out, like, insane damage. And then, of course, now, I don't know if he'll survive the turn. This is the problem. I need to try and get, like, as little ki as possible. Because, yeah, we're going to have the... 18 key super buff from Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which is obviously the 44% buff. Purposely trying to hold back here so that AGL Gogeta doesn't just absolutely destroy the Zamasu by only giving him his 12 key supers. Because I mean, this turn with like full key, these guys could go pretty crazy. Obviously Gogeta, we could have used the Dragon Fist, which would then just make all of the rest of the attacks in the turn go even more crazy. So, yeah, steering away from that so we can get another turn here with the INT Gogeta. We've got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta going to be on rotation with him as well. Super Saiyan AGL, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, who gives defensive support. We're going to have this buff from the Super Saiyan 4 Goku 18 key super. So, yeah, next turn should look pretty good. He did only get to super twice. That's the thing. He didn't get to do a potential third super, because he ended up killing the AGL Zamasu, which is something that could be an issue, I guess. Like, if on his first appearance, if he does one super and that kills the boss, then he doesn't get... Oh, well, never mind. Super Saiyan 4 Goku getting taken out by Texamasu. That's why I like doing this event for like a showcase thing, because the event is not easy. But yeah, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, very, very good. Like I say, weird kind of situation, I guess, for him, showing him in like a showcase setting, because I feel like his best team is going to be GT Heroes and just floating in slot 3, where he's going to be able to hold his own defensively perfectly fine. He's going to be dropping some big numbers, especially if you're running some of these other supports. You've got characters like, you know, STR Super Saiyan 4 Goku in slot 2, who gives 40% extra attack. Like, this guy's going to be hitting insanely hard and being strong defensively, while just being that nice little extra, like, final piece to the team for things like GT Heroes and China 8 Power. So very, very good. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. But yeah, I think they did not disappoint with the INT Gogeta ECA. I think they've designed him perfectly for the current meta GT Heroes team, right? Because him sharing the same name as the new Gogeta, he kind of always had to be built to be good as like a slot 3 floater, and I think he is. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.